Ladies and gentlemen, the Dustana houses in astrology, the 6th, 8th, and 12th, they are the houses of nightmare. They are the houses which create all the problems in this world. Doesn't matter what planet you have there. In short, that planet will most likely take things away from you. One exception, if that planet is associated with the 10th or 11th, it might sometimes also end up giving you certain things, like, with the 12th house and the 11th, there could be like you get some money after spending, or eighth house, then there could be like alimony, or you might get a lot of insurance, or with the sixth house you may succeed in competition. But 90% of the times the Dustana houses are troubled houses. They mean that we have to pay back in this lifetime. All right, but what should we do? Well, I have a lot of videos on Dustana houses, but today's video is how the Bhagavad Gita can actually help you get rid of the malefic effects of the Dustha houses, because the Dustha houses tell us our prarabdha karma, which means the karma that we must face in this lifetime. There's no escape, there is no remedy. No remedy works for the Dusthanas. You may do 1,000 remedies, but it changes nothing. Okay, I'm absolutely nothing. Okay, so if you have flats in Dusthanas, or you have your Dusthana lords sitting in some houses, which they will, because they have to sit somewhere, then you will face trouble in these houses. All right, so today's video will be generic, and it will be applicable to every planet that you have either in 6th, 8th, or 12th of your Bhavachalit chart. So whenever you talk of houses, please look at the Bhavachalik chart. Only then you will know which planets are sitting in my 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, and also which planets are lording my 6th house, 8th house, 12th house. Now, the Bhagavad Gita is one of the most important books of the Vedic tradition. You could say it's a book or a Smriti, Shruti, sorry. Shruti means directly heard from God, or God. Now, here, God is like literally speaking, okay? Shri Krishna. So, therefore, if you have plants in Dusthana houses, when you read the Bhagavad Gita and you try to live by its principles, how can it help you in your life? That's exactly what we are going to discuss today. So, number one, the eighth house, it's the graveyard. So, graveyard means smashan. It's like things are ending. So, what does it mean? Things are ending. Ending means you are fearful. Oh, he will leave me. She will leave me. I'll get fired from my job. I'll get a divorce. I'll become, I'll go bankrupt. I will not get inheritance. I will not get married. I will remain single for the rest of my life. I'm gonna die like this. Okay, you fear. So there are endless types of fears that you have. Okay, a person who is not married is fearful. They will not get married. A person who is married is fearful. Will I get a divorce or will I stay married? Okay, a person who is married is fearful of not getting children, of will I get children or not? Okay, so therefore, fear is a fundamental composition of the material world, because fear is because we know deep down inside that the material realm is temporary. Material relationships are temporary. So therefore, we have fear. Now, what to do if you are fearful? Well, the best thing to do is to read the Bhagavad Gita if you're fearful. And eighth house gives you fear, and the planets sitting in the eighth can give you fear related to that house. For example, if you have Venus in eighth, you might be fearful. You may be thinking, oh, maybe my lover is having an affair with somebody. You are fearful. Somebody will steal your spouse. Okay, or this could also happen if your seventh lord is in the eighth. Okay, so if you are fearful, then you must read the Bhagavad Gita. Why? Now, of course, everybody is fearful, right? Irrespective of what you have in the Dusthanas, we always have fear. I have fear, you have fear, and nobody else is an exception, right? So, there are a lot of slokas which you can read in the Bhagavad Gita, but the most important sloka is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishami Ma Sucha, right? So Sri Krishna says here, Ma Suchaha, do not fear, abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all the reactions of your past lifetimes. Do not fear. Krishna says, Ma Sucha, do not fear, he says, right? So what does this mean? Well, this means Krishna will help us to come out of the suffering. How does he do that? Well, he does not do it necessarily by removing all the obstacles. What he does is he gives us his remembrance in difficult times, and that is how he does it. And there are many ways he does it, but like that only Krishna knows how he does it. But in general, that's how he does it. Okay. And then when you are starting your spiritual life, you gradually get connected to a parampara, and then you take initiation from a guru. And when you take initiation, then at the moment of diksha, your past life, the karma that is there, apart from this lifetime, apart from the prarabdha of this life, which is like you have to face, but apart from that, that gets nullified and it becomes zero. Okay, so you get a chance to go back to the spiritual world and perfect your life. So that is where the final freedom from fear comes, because whenever till the time you are in this material world, you are always fearful, because people themselves are finite. Okay, like for example, you have a job, you may be fired anytime, you don't know. Now your manager or your boss may not be a bad person, but there may be cost cutting or whatever, n number of reasons, and because of that you are fired. So now you don't know what to do, right? So that's how the material world is. But when you perfect your life and you go back to the spiritual world, as Krishna says, Yad gatva nani vartante tadhama paramam, right? One who reaches my abode does not come back into the material world, Arjuna, right? So therefore, if you have fear, then please read this shloka and do spiritual practices and develop remembrance of God. That will give you freedom from fear. This is the most dreaded problem. Number six, sixth house is the house of weakness. Weakness, right? What is sixth house? Weakness. Kam, krodh, lobh, moh, mada, matsar, lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion. Whichever planet except Sun, Moon, Jupiter is there in your sixth, that anartha is maximum in you. For example, if Venus is there in the sixth, then you have Kama. Mars represents Krodha, anger, right? Mercury represents Matsara. Matsara is envy. Okay. Now, if you have planets in the sixth, or as I said, even if you don't have, the sixth lord is sitting somewhere, right? So, and the sixth lord is a planet. So, the sixth lord will show which anatha you have. So, as Krishna says, Arjuna asks to Krishna, right, which is the all which is the biggest enemy of mankind? Then Krishna replies to Arjuna's question that Kama esha krodha esho rajoguna samudbhava. He says, right, that lust is the greatest enemy of mankind. So Krishna talks of different anarthas. Almost every anartha Krishna talks about. And Krishna also gives a lot of solutions, like, how to get rid of anarthas, how to elevate your consciousness, the different yoga ladders, So if you read, you will see that you are able to come out of your weaknesses. And the moment you come out, you become your best version. There is nobody better than you or you. Okay. Not that for others. But for you yourself, you become your best version. So if you read the Gita, you will be able to control your senses, because Arjuna says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balabadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoreva sudushkaram. He says, Oh Krishna, I can control the winds, but I cannot control the mind. Vayoreva sudushkaram. It's more difficult to control the mind than it's to control the winds. Okay, even if that is a hurricane or tsunami tomorrow, the president of US, prime minister of India, Russian president, EU, and the Chinese president, only thing they can do is tell their citizens evacuate. This is all they can do. But Arjuna said, no, I can control the wind using one astra, one weapon, one arrow. He can control the winds. You are so powerful. But he says, I cannot control the mind. It's not possible. So imagine a person of a caliber like Arjun is telling that I cannot control the mind. So imagine our precarious situation, how precarious we are. All right. So therefore, read the Bhagavad Gita to come out of weakness. Okay. Like for example, let me give you a very small example. Like the Bhagavad Gita says, anger is unfulfilled lust. So if you want to work on your anger, you have to work on your lust, on your desires, because anger only arises when you have an unfulfilled desire, and it means your desire is not getting fulfilled, which means you have some materialistic desire, right? So therefore, then anger is if the desire is fulfilled, then it turns into greed. So it's how bizarre, if lust is fulfilled, it turns into greed. I want more, 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 more. And if it is not fulfilled, it turns into anger. How dangerous lust is, right? That is what the Gita says. Smiti vamshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashati. Okay. Now, number number three, eighth house creates confusion. Do you feel headless? Do you feel I don't know what's going on in life? What I should do? Kuch pata nahi chal raha hai. It's just going. I'm dragging. What is that? I'm just moving around. Things are happening. Ram bharose chal raha hai sabhi. If you feel like this, then well, guess what? You lack direction in life. And after speaking the Bhagavad Gita, what did Arjuna do? Did he say, "Oh, I just need some time to chill"? No, he got up, he took his Gandhi when he said, "I will now fight and defeat the Kauravas," right? So, therefore, after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says to Krishna, Krishna asks, "Do you want me to repeat the Bhagavad Gita or do you want me to repeat? You have any questions?" Krishna asks. And then Arjun says, Karishye stitosmi gata sandeha. No, initially he says, what is this? Nashto moha smiti labdva tvat prasadan mayachyuta stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. I will now do what you said. I have no confusion. All my confusions and fear is now dispelled. I don't have any doubts, right? Nashto moha smriti labdva. He says, all my moha is gone, right? Karishya tvat prasadan mayachyuta. This means after receiving the prasad from you, prasad here means Krishna's instructions, Krishna's words, Krishna's association, and Krishna's blessings. He says, Karishya vachanam tava. I will do what you said. So you will get tremendous clarity about your life. So please read it. Number 12, number 4 is, regarding the 12th house. The 12th house again shows detachment, but there's a difference. The 12th house is detachment in a bad way. If you see in a bad way, it is detachment by force. Something is taken away. You are stripped of this, and you have no other option rather than being detached. But in a good way, the 12th house shows voluntary detachment, and that is what is the power of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita will make you detach from the materialistic side of life. Like now, see, there's nothing wrong in being considerate and sincere about your materialistic life. There's nothing wrong. But when you get attached, then those things that you own, they actually end up controlling you. Okay, like we have the example of Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, right? In the Mahabharata, like Dhritarashtra was very attached to his son Duryodhana, and he was never able to say anything against Duryodhana. And what happened? Duryodhana exploited his father. He tried to disrobe Draupadi. He tried to humiliate the Pandavas, and he did also to a large extent. But then at the end, what happened? He lost everything. So if you read the Bhagavad Gita, you will learn more about detachment, how to be detached. And then even if you have planets in the 12th house, because 12th house planets can force you to be detached. Okay, it may not come in the way you like. Okay, so now if you read before and you incorporate the teachings into your life, you will naturally become very detached. You won't be too much bothered about, oh, okay, if I want this, nothing wrong with it, but I will not become unhappy if I don't get it also. Maybe I'll be unhappy for some time, but I will not be perpetually unhappy. Okay. Number 5, eighth house is when somebody leaves you, right? So you feel a lack of love. Eighth house is tears, sorrow, suffering. How do you feel when somebody rejects you, somebody kicks you out of their life? How do you feel? You feel humiliated, you feel insulted, right? You feel dejected, you feel, I'm worthless, I'm useless, I'm good for nothing, I'm completely gone, I'm like a big zero in life. You feel like this. That's the power of the eighth house. It can make you feel you are a piece of crap. Okay. Now, how will reading the Gita give you freedom from this fear? Because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that there are a lot of places where he says. So Krishna also tells how to get rid of all this. He says, "Mai asakta mana partha." So he says, never think that you are alone. No, think of me and do the activities. And Krishna also says, right? where he says, I am there in the region of the heart. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. He says, I am situated in the region of the heart. So Krishna is actually telling you, God is there with you all the time. Just look to him and you will find him, right? So he's trying to tell you that you are not alone. You have me, right? I am there with you. I am situated in the region of the heart. Just listen to me. Now, how do you listen to Krishna? By listening to the Bhagavad Gita. Very simple. So if you read the Bhagavad Gita, your fear, your pain, your rejection, your dejection that you feel from somebody or from anywhere, that will gradually go, because you realize that there is always one person who is with you, even if everybody else goes, including your own body. This body that you have will not last more than 120 years, or maybe a bit more. We have Vimshotri Dasha, right? 120 years maximum. But at the end of your life, you will lose this body and go to another body if you don't perfect yourself. But there's one person who will go with you. Who is that? The super soul, the Paramatma. Again, Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Now, this is beautiful. Number 6 is about the sixth house again. The sixth house is the house of punishment. Punishment because our senses are not under control. So how do you bring your senses under control? By doing abhyas, by doing practice. Okay. Now, how do you practice? Well, the Krishna explains, the yoga ladder is there. Like, we have Sakam Karma Yoga, then there's Nishkam Karma Yoga, then Dhyan Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Ashtang Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So it's like a ladder, okay, depending on wherever you are. So depending on your situation, right? You are a brahmachari, which means you are a monk in the temple, or you are a grihastha, you are married, or you are vanaprasth, which means you have now renounced sex life, and you and your wife, you are traveling together and doing spiritual activities. Or you are a sannyasi, you have renounced the world completely and you have taken sannyas. So, depending on your situation, depending on your disposition, depending on your psychophysical nature, depending on your position, depending on your level of spiritual maturity, Krishna suggests a lot of things. First, Krishna says, okay, do everything for me, give me everything, give me your whole life. Then if you can't do that, then do this. If you can't, then do this. If you can't, then do this. Krishna gives a lot of, Krishna is giving you a lot of levels, right? So, depending on your situation, you can choose what is best for you under consultation of a guru. And then if you keep practicing that, then what happens? You feel life is more free. Okay. Yes, because the punishment is not there, because the senses are not tormenting you anymore. Okay. Very, very, very important. Number 7, the sixth house is also the house which punishes you because you don't have regulation. Okay. So how do you bring regulation? Like Krishna says in the Gita, right? Yukta hara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu. So he says, regulated eating, one who sleeps not too much or not too less. So Gita also talks a lot about discipline and regulation. So if you want to bring regulation into your life, only then you can be happy. Only then the sixth house will not torment you. Otherwise, the sixth house will punish you, because you will not be organized. You will just do anything, anywhere, every time. Have you seen people, like, whatever is edible, they will put inside their mouth. Whatever you can hear, you will keep hearing all nasty things. You will eat all wrong stuff. And then what happens? Your consciousness gets more and more polluted. Okay. So Krishna tells a lot about practice and detachment, and also about regulation. So Krishna tells, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and all this. So that is how you can regulate your life. And by regulating yourself, you can be happy. So read the Bhagavad Gita and the shlokas. Number 8, Krishna tells you about the 12th house, which is the final house of exit, okay, from the material world. Okay. So Krishna says, Anta kalecha mameva smaran muktva kaleva. So he says, at the end of life, if you think of me, you will come back to me, right? So therefore, Krishna is preparing you for the final exit. And if you don't think of him, then what happens? Depending on your consciousness, you will take another birth. If you have some punya, you will go to heaven. If you have some pap, you will go to hell. You will suffer. You will come back, and then you will take another birth, or if you are too sinful after coming from the hellish planets, 28 hellish planets as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, you may get birth in an animal body. Some bodies are fixed, then you will become lion, tiger, snake, or whatever. And then you get birth in a human body again, and again the thing keeps perpetuating. Okay, so if you lead your life as per the Bhagavad Gita, and you try to elevate your consciousness depending on your situation, depending on your level, then at the end of life you can go back to Krishna. And as Krishna says, Yad Gatva Anivartante Tad Dhama Paramama, one who reaches my abode does not come back. So you will not be back. All right, very, very, very important. So he's preparing you for detachment, as we saw in point number 4, but he's also preparing you for the final exit. Detachment is for leaving, but the pinnacle of detachment is, when you are completely detached from the material world and you can now leave this world. Okay, exit, your final exit. Number 9, this is again about people who are fearful at times because they fear, they'll be somewhere in between. Like sometimes when you do spiritual practices, Arjuna also had this query. Arjuna asked, what if I'm like a riven cloud? I don't enjoy materially, nor do I gain spiritual maturity. So what will happen to me? Will I be like a loser? Will I be nobody? Will I be like just hovering around, because I did not get spiritual happiness, nor did I enjoy it materially? Like Krishna says, no, don't worry. Don't think that you are a loser if don't get spiritual perfection. He says, pappe punya kritam loka nushitva shashwati samaha, right? So basically, he says, depending on your papa and punya, you will go to different places. And then he also says, if you do some spiritual practice, I will send you to the heavens, and you will get birth in a rich family, where you can practice spiritual life more. Then he says, if you do more spiritual practices, you will get birth in a Brahmana family. And if you do even more, if you are almost like perfect, you will get birth in a family of devotees where, they are like very, very, very elevated, great souls. And then you will perfect your life and go back to the spiritual world. Okay. So therefore, if you are fearful that, I will neither be in the material side or spiritual side, because then the Bhagavad Gita will give you freedom. So you don't have to think you will be a loser. Okay. And at the end, the 12th house, as I said, it prepares you for the final exit. So the question is, it's not just about exiting. It is also about being happy in this world. Okay, because the planets in the 12th, they may strip you of happiness in general, because 12th house is loss, right? You have an end planet in the 12th house. You may lose the karakatwas of that particular plan or the lordships. Okay, so then it means what to do if that is our karma, right? How to be happy, because it is very difficult. Imagine your Venus, or seventh lord, or your Dara Karaka is in a Dustana house. There might be challenging situations in your marriage, depending on the overall chart. So then how do you remain happy? It's like the ultimate happiness mantra, right? So Krishna says, mat chitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. Krishna speaks of his devotees. Mat chitta madgata prana, they are always discussing about me. They are, remembering me, my pastimes, and they are always happy. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Ramanti cha means they are extremely delighted. Okay, so therefore, if you are generally unhappy in life, then it means you need to find some spiritual community where you get association of devotees of Krishna, and then you will be happy automatically. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. And yes, if you want a personalized consultation from me, you can always visit my website down in the description section. So now you must remember, God is there with you all the time. Just look to him and you'll find him. So don't fear about the Dusthanas. Read the Bhagavad Gita, read the shlokas, or at least the shlokas that I mentioned in this video. You can search them in Google, and the first 2-3 words you will find them. All right. So all the best. Please take care. Jai Siya Ram.